and former Army Chief General Anapan Pauchinda. The two are towering figures in Thailand's military establishment and have close ties to the armed forces top leader General Prayuth Chan-o-cha. All three helped oust then Prime Minister Thaksin Shinawatra in 2006. A Reuters report in December revealed that Prawit and Anupan had secretly backed the anti-government protests that undermined the government of Thaksin's sister Yingluck Shinawatra, and she was removed from office on May 7th for abuse of power. For the latest situation in Bangkok, let's go live to our correspondent there, Martin Loh. Martin, thank you so much for joining us. So the Army is taking steps to limit the flow of information. How much of an effect are you seeing this could have?
Excuse me, there's an old saying, isn't there, that in war the first casualty is truth. Now, we're not at war here, but perhaps the same principle applies. There is far less information now being disseminated. A lot less is being posted on social media. There are still daily protests against the coup taking place. They used to be well publicised, where they were going to happen and at what time. That information is no longer being disseminated. I think people are very aware that the Army has said that they will come and arrest people who distribute this kind of information, and very much the flow of comment is being stilled. Media organisations here have expressed concern to the junta about the lack of freedom of expression. Some journalists are already in detention. The Army has also now summoned two prominent Thai journalists, and they've told them that they must report to the Army. They're being accused of being too vigorous in their questioning of the coup leader, General Prayuth, when he held a press conference. They were asking him how long he intended to remain as acting PM and when he could hold or allow elections to be held. And after that was over, he went to his aides and he decided that this was inappropriate, that he should be, in his words, cornered by the media. So two journalists are going to be wrapped over the knuckles for that. Neighbouring Myanmar, the Myanmar Journalists Association has now made a call for press freedom to be restored here in Thailand. That's fairly ironic, of course, because Myanmar endured decades of press censorship and used to look longingly across the border at Thailand and envy the freedoms they had here. Now the roles are being reversed, and it's just been announced in the last moment or two that the Thai authorities are considering now building a state-owned internet gateway for Thailand to allow the authorities much greater control over what websites people are going to be allowed to view here in Thailand. So overall, some very draconian measures being proposed.
Well, so Thailand's former education minister was arrested yesterday in a very public fashion. What do we know about the conditions he and other people are being held in?
Yes, he was. Chatapon was hustled away by the Army in the full glare of the international media as he was making a press conference. He's now in custody. It's thought around 260 people have been detained by the Army so far, including most of the former government who they overthrew. Now, it's thought that most of these people are being held at Army barracks around Thailand. The few people who have been released are saying that they were treated reasonably well. It seems that senior politicians and senior figures are being held in what amounts to officers' quarters. Fairly Spartan but serviceable. Other people seem to be in conscript accommodation, which of course is a bit more basic. Now, the Army has released today on its own TV channel some video of people in custody looking reasonably relaxed. One of them is the red shirt leader, Jatapon Prompan, who's now been held for more than a week. He was one of the first to be detained during a meeting with General Prayuth. He's seen walking around talking to soldiers. He's wearing a T-shirt. He looks fairly relaxed, although people say he does appear to have lost a fair bit of weight. Now, the Education Minister, Chatapon, who was arrested very publicly yesterday, he was saying at the time that he has witnessed many coups in Thailand in the past, and he's been verbal in his opposition to military takeovers in the past. But he says never before has he seen people rounded up like this and detained by the Army. So that's the first thing. Meanwhile, just one thing is being relaxed here to make life a little easier for the people here in Thailand. The nightly curfew, which previously ran from 10 o'clock at night until 5 o'clock in the morning, is being relaxed today and put back from to operate between the hours of 12 midnight and 4 a.m. So a little bit more freedom on the streets, but a lot less more freedom of discussion.
Thanks so much, Martin Loh, live for us in Bangkok. We'll watch this closely with you. Appreciate it. Thailand is one of the top tourist destinations in the world, and last year more than 26 million people visited the country. But months of unrest and a military takeover may finally be taking a toll on the country's tourism industry. CCTV's Barnaby Low has this story from Bangkok.
Bangkok's Khao San Road is a backpacker's paradise. Cheap hotels, cheap shopping, cheap food. And for tuk-tuk drivers like Hanton Ngambunrung, it's a thriving source of livelihood. But lately, he says, business has been slow.
Normally, I make about $100 a day. Now, I can't even make 30.
That's because months of unrest and a military takeover just less than a week ago has kept potential tourists from coming to Thailand. Several countries, including the United States and Australia, have issued travel warnings. For the first 4 months of the year, tourist arrivals dropped to 8.6 million from 9.1 million in the same period last year, according to the country's Ministry of Tourism. Some of the most popular tourist attractions in the city, like the Grand Palace, are almost empty at certain times of the day. And very late in the evening, this is what most of Bangkok looks like. A lot less crowded, a lot more quiet, where shops, restaurants and bars used to be open till very late at night. The curfew, which lasts till the wee hours of the morning, has kept tourists from experiencing Bangkok's famous nightlife.
You know, everybody's lovely and friendly, no trouble, and everything okay. The only thing is the curfew, the night just getting warmed up, and everybody got to pull the shutters down.
Still, Thailand's business leaders believe a more peaceful and stable environment, which they say the new military government can provide, will bring tourists back.
It's not, for tourists' point of view, it's not about who's running the country. It's about, is it peaceful, calm, and safe? That's the key.
Optimism many here don't share as anti-coup protesters continue to pour out into the streets. Barnaby Low, CCTV, Bangkok.
Let's go to Ukraine now. Ukraine's interim interior minister